Alright, in this episode we're going to go through a lot of fun facts and figures about Halloween. I'm sure even hardcore fans know a lot of this stuff, but some of them they may have missed. Okay, let's get started. First off, Halloween remains the most profitable film. I know some people might say Star Wars, but as an independent film, no. For its budget, it remains the most profitable. So it's an interesting little fact. Even now, Halloween remains king. Though probably now a video series is more profitable, but for a theatrical release, it is the most profitable. Originally, the script was called Babysitter Murderers, and actually, the first Halloween is largely based on Black Christmas. So people have forgotten that, but it is true. It's not as original as people think. Also, even the title is completely coincidental. They just wanted all the events to happen in one night. Originally, Michael was supposed to do things over several nights, but they didn't have the budget for it, so they changed the title. There's also a lot of Hitchcock influences in the first one. In fact, Loomis is a Hitchcock character, and he's inserted in the Halloween franchise. And Michael is not called Michael, technically, in the first one. He's called The Shape, which is an allusion to the Salem witch trials. Yeah, Carpenter always has some interesting hidden little political messages. Also, the Carpenter score in the first one was due to a critic seeing a preview. He didn't think the film was very scary, and Carpenter created the score to, make it more scary. You'll also hear Michael's voice in the original version. Yeah, you'll hear his breathing. That's in the original music, but they took it out later. Also, Haddonfield is a real place in New Jersey. It's an actual real town. Uh, Deborah Hill, the producer, that's where she's from. She's from New Jersey. Also, when we see the knife that Michael uses to kill Judith at the beginning, that's not Michael. That little hand using the knife is actually Deborah Hill. So it's an interesting fact. And finally, Nick, who plays Michael in the first one, has a dancer background. So if you look closely, he does some interesting dancer movements. Yeah, Michael doesn't just do the walk and stalk. And also, this is probably very well known, but the Michael mask is not original. It's actually a Captain Kirk mask that they modified. They actually were going to use a much more ordinary monster mask, but they decided to go with the Kirk mask later on. And in Halloween 2, Michael was slated to die. That was supposed to be his final film, but obviously they decided to break that tradition. In Halloween 4, Jamie, again, is named after Jamie Lee Curtis. As far as I know, she's the only actress that has been turned to an actual character in the Halloween franchise. So that's an interesting fact. Also, Halloween 4 breaks the pumpkin tradition. Usually the pumpkin opens the film, but they decided to break the tradition first with Halloween 4. And Halloween 4 is, of course, the beginning of the Thorn trilogy, which remains the only trilogy so far in the Halloween franchise. I know people are going to clap with Halloween Kills, but again, so far it's the only trilogy. And let's be honest, if Halloween Kills makes no money, I don't know if Jason is going to go through with the other part. But we'll see. But so far, it's the only trilogy. And Tommy has an interesting little cameo in part 4, which a lot of people have forgotten. And Jamie in Halloween 6 is the only actress to be played by two actresses, right? Jamie Lee Curtis has always played Laurie, but yeah, for Jamie, they replaced the actress in Halloween 6. Kind of disrespectfully, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's a little disrespectful, but yeah, they replaced her. As far as I know, that's the only case where a major character, in terms of the actresses, has been replaced. So that's a little weird. Also, there are references to the creators again in Halloween 6. Deborah is obviously named after Deborah Hill. There's also some sly allusions to Carpenter and his film ideas in Halloween 6. Again, if you look closely, you'll catch it. And Halloween 5 is the debut of the Man in Black. Now you have to watch out for it, and there are some slightly different versions with Halloween 5 depending on the ending, but if you do look out, the Man in Black does appear. I believe the Man in Black only appears in parts 5 and 6. Again, explicitly. Yeah, I mean, implicitly he's in part 4, but explicitly he's visually debuting in part 5. And the Rob Zombie Halloweens are technically the only two-part Halloween series, right? They're the only story that has only two movies to it. Technically, Halloween 1 and 2 are their own thing, but again, they've changed Michael a lot. In fact, as far as I know, Michael probably is on record as having the most reboots. He's been rebooted, depending on your count, 4 to 5 times, and that's way more than even Freddy or Jason or any other horror. Perhaps the most rebooted horror icon of all time. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, we shall see. Also, the director of Halloween Resurrection is also the director of Halloween 2. There's also some interesting Jungian references in Halloween Resurrection. So, yeah, there's a little bit more psychoanalysis in that part as well. And finally, Carpenter remains, as far as I know, the only director to do the score for Halloween. And of course, you can kind of independently enjoy the Halloween music as opposed to the films. It's, I think, still a world record in terms of, kind of the most popular score that a director has personally done. I mean, other directors do it, like David Lynch, but in terms of the horror franchise, it's probably the most famous and the most popular. All right, these have been some nice little fun facts and figures.